something very scary went down over the weekend at the Munich Security Conference. And like this one's actually pretty worry, I would say, because over the weekend, some of the world's most powerful leaders quietly admitted something pretty concerning. The world order that's kept the peace since World War II may be breaking down. You see, every year, world leaders, top security experts, and defense industries, along with journalists, many others, they all gather in Munich to discuss the biggest security issues facing the planet today. But this year it was different. One theme that multiple world leaders kept on repeating was that the cooperative world order, the one that was established after World War II, the only world order, in fact, that you and I really know is apparently breaking down. Francis Macron said that Europe must prepare for potential war because old security structures are gone. Marco Rubio called for a new century of Western civilization. The UK's Keir Starmer said that they're considering significant increases to military spending to meet the wider threat. And Germany, as we've spoken about before, they've already begun plans to build the strongest military in Europe again. So what the hell is going on? Well, I mean, we could all kind of feel something, can't we? But one pretty grave explanation that went extremely viral on X, over 65 million views, is from Ray Dalio. He is the author of the book Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order. And put very simply, he claims that we are entering the final stages of a cycle that is repeated throughout history before great wars. He outlines that before World War II, many similar things happening today happened then, including financial crises that triggered internal instability. Countries turned more nationalistic and authoritarian. There were trade wars, sanctions, and tariffs that escalated between nations. Military expansion followed, and war eventually became unavoidable. Now, it must be noted that not everyone agrees with Dalio's historical cycle theory, but at the same time, many analysts do accept that great power tensions are clearly rising. Military spending worldwide hit yet another all-time record of 2.7 trillion in 2025. In 2023, the world saw the highest number of state-based conflicts since 1946. Germany warned for the first time since the Cold War that war is no longer unlikely. And even among allies, things are changing. I mean, Europe's relationship with the United States, for example, hasn't been this strained since almost a century. Germany's defense minister told the BBC, "We got used to the strong support from the US. We got used to our comfort zones in which we used to live. This time is definitely over." Now, the path to destruction, war, and getting shipped off to the front lines is not predetermined. Okay, I'm not going to the front lines. I've got empires to build. And even Dalio stresses that smart leadership and diplomacy can fix what's broken. But what do you guys think? Are we doomed to watch history repeat itself? Or is this just another cycle of global panic that fades away? I hope it fades. Well, 300 Ukrainian drones just swarmed Moscow. Putin's impenetrable air defense bubble has burst, leaving the elites in the capital scrambling as airports shut down and debris rains from the sky. But the damage goes far beyond the capital. The governor of Bryansk is calling the latest wave of Ukrainian attack the most powerful attack of the entire war, admitting that Russia is running out of resources to protect its own borders. The worst part of all this for Russia is that the Ukrainian attacks are about to go up even more. You see, 3 days ago at the Munich Security Conference, Germany and Ukraine announced something significant, a joint venture that's already producing drones for Ukrainian military. And the best part, during the announcement, Zelensky actually received the first shipment on stage. Ukraine's goal is ambitious. They want more than 10 factories like these across Europe by the end of the year, all producing drones, all feeding Ukraine's strike capabilities. This means Ukraine's ability to hit Russia will only grow month after month, factory after factory, and the Russians, well, they're not taking it well. Here's one of Russia's most popular propaganda show reacting to the news that they are now fighting against German-made drones. Take a listen. And proudly and joyfully, they demonstrate how German drones manufactured in German factories will kill Russians. Not only that, but even to applause. Torius is delighted with this. The drones that will bring death to the peaceful population of Russia will bear not only the Ukrainian flag, but also the German flag, as a symbol of the German Wehrmacht's devotion to the idea of destroying the Slavs. Now it's called something else. This Wehrmacht, has anything actually changed? The humiliation is obvious. 3 years into a war that Russia was supposed to win in 3 days, and now they're facing German weapons yet again. But propaganda is one thing. Let's look at what these drones are actually doing. We'll start with the Russian capital, because if Moscow isn't safe, nowhere in Russia is safe. On February 15th, Ukraine launched roughly 200 drones at Moscow. Then, just an hour later, they launched another 100, 300 drones targeting the capital in a single operation. Now, Putin has surrounded the city with layered air defense systems to protect his palace and, of course, the city's elite. But every air defense system has one weakness: it can be overwhelmed. Send enough drones and something will get through. That's exactly what happened. Now, according to Moscow's mayor, every single drone was actually destroyed, and any damage that we just saw in the clip, that's just falling debris. Now, let's assume for a second that that is true. Maybe Russia is taking down all the Ukrainian drones in Moscow. Even at that point, the Russian elites are still suffering. The reason for that is simple. Every time drones are spotted near Moscow, airports are shut down, sometimes for hours, and then flights are cancelled and schedules are disrupted. This is when the elites start noticing. They realize that the war they believe that was happening somewhere else is now affecting their daily lives. The elites Putin is trying to protect, well, they are feeling the effects of the war. And as Ukraine's drone capabilities grow every single month, they'll feel it even more. Now, this is where I want to point out something important. If Moscow is getting uncomfortable, the border regions of Russia are just suffering catastrophically. I don't know if that's a word, but that's exactly what's happening, because every time Russia attacks a Ukrainian power plant, Ukraine hits back, and it hits back hard. On February 15th, the same day the 300 drones went to Moscow, Ukraine also struck Bryansk with what the governor called the most powerful and widespread attack since the start of this war. That's not Ukrainian propaganda. That's coming straight from a Russian governor that Putin himself appointed. That tells you the scale of the damage. And here's what makes it worse. The governor also admitted to something Putin doesn't want people knowing. While Ukraine's drone and missile productions are growing, Russia has fewer and fewer air defense systems than when they started this war. They've been losing them to Ukrainian strikes, and of course, just through no more attrition. In fact, just this week, Ukraine's Alpha Operation Unit said that in 2025, they cut the number of Russian Pantsir air defense system in half through long-range strike. Now, this is already devastating for protecting Russian skies, but is also devastating for Putin's bank account. That's because each Pantsir system is valued at around 15 to 20 million, and it's considered a key element of Russia's air defense. That means the total value of the damage that the Alpha unit destroyed is about 4 billion in just a single year. That's just the value of the damages done to the air defenses. Now imagine the math for the value of damages that Ukraine can do, because there are no air defense systems to protect the Russian refineries, to protect the Russian ports. Well, that's exactly what's happening, and this is exactly why governors in border regions like Belgrade, Bransonsk, and others are publicly asking the Kremlin to calm down with their attacks on Kyiv. Their logic is simple. Every time Putin hits Ukraine, Ukraine heads back, and Ukraine goes after the border regions. And since Russia doesn't have enough air defenses to protect its own people, the citizens are suffering. They need electricity, they need water, and they need it all to survive the winter. But in all honesty, Putin doesn't care, because his goal isn't to make sure Russians are living a good life. His goal is to make sure Ukrainians don't exist. And that's not me just hyping up the situation. That is a message coming straight from Russian state television. They're saying this openly. Take a listen. I've always said this. Those who previously spoke about a pro-Russian Ukraine, who said that it was necessary to combine military and political methods, now they understand that it doesn't work and that it is all meaningless. In order for Russia to achieve the political goals of this war, the Ukrainian state must be completely destroyed, completely deconstructed. All organized life in that area must disappear within the framework of the state that emerged on the ruins of the USSR. All organized political life there must disappear. This state must completely disappear as a chimera. Don't think that you can just change politicians there, or that you can just fire Zelensky and Yermak and other such nonsense. No, that's not the point. And there should be no Ukraine or its capital at all. Listen to what they're saying. The goal isn't just to change Ukraine's government. It's not just to take back Donetsk or territories that Putin claims are historically Russian. The goal is to destroy Ukraine as a state. This mindset is exactly why negotiations aren't working. How are Ukrainians expected to negotiate with someone who wants them to not exist in this world? Luckily, Ukraine realizes the situation they are in, and that's why they have shifted their strategy. If Putin is not willing to negotiate fairly, well, Ukraine will just target something he cares about, and that's his bank account. Just this morning, Ukraine attacked the Elix refinery in Russia's Krasnodar region. This is one of the largest refineries in southern Russia, and it is a critical facility that supplies fuel to the Russian forces. I'm sure you guys know this, but when a refinery is burning, it has a harder time supplying fuel to the customers it has. And then in Crimea, Ukraine struck the Kacha airfield. This is the same airbase that Russia uses to launch its drones against Ukrainian cities. So, taking out a facility like these that launches drones, well, that's not just an attack, that's actually self defense. And that's the same logic when Ukraine is attacking Russian energy infrastructure. You see, Russia is funding this war by selling oil overseas. So, if Ukraine goes after Russian refineries and Russian oil fields, they're actually helping out their soldiers and the front line. And this is the kind of pressure that doesn't just hurt the Russian military, it also hurts the Russian economy. And as we have said before, you need three things to win a war: money, money, money. Putin is struggling to get it. Old revenues are falling, sanctions are biting, and now his refineries are burning.